So it's really sad, the insane things that people will do and the insane lengths that people will go to, I don't know, win because of their ego or something. I don't know. Get somebody out of the way because they care more about them being the best person around and the top dog and controlling everyone rather than just doing what's best for a business. Anyways, so I don't know if you followed my story of injustice. Sometimes when you're the targeted scapegoat, you wonder how much injustice could possibly be brought against somebody. But as somebody with zero violent crimes ever, that's only the last time I actually laid a hand on somebody in violence was when I was 17 years old, which I'm almost 46, so that was a good 30 years ago, and it was a fight that I didn't even start. That ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend started with me. And that's quite literally the only time I've ever actually, like, touched somebody in a violent manner, you know? So this is ridiculous, though, because the state of Montana won't. They don't even let me, like, tell my side of the story. So anyways, I just want to illustrate. So I'm in this room here, and when I actually, like, asked the sister to leave because I'd been missing money and these people had been up partying and doing drugs, like, for weeks, and he came up drunk, volatile, coming off a big runner, and, started being, volatile with me. And I basically pointed at his chest and said, "No, you do abuse your cat." And it woke me up at night. And I had gone to the police and talked to them about that incident a few days before the whole shenanigans, false accusations thing came up. And then they started actually asking me more about the drug activity and asking me about the boss as well. No, there was recorded statement taken at the police office in Three Forks just a few days before this whole thing went down. But so anyways, I'm standing in a doorway here. And basically, we're like in the doorway when I point at him and he lunges toward my finger. And so I'm literally accused of pushing this guy against the wall. Now, this wall here is a good 15 feet behind me, which was about the same distance at his back wall. Since we were in this doorway, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to push him into the close wall because I would have had to do some sort of a swipe and push sort of a move. Some serious L underground like stuff, right? Jeez. Those aren't my superpowers. Anyways, I was accused of pushing him against a wall, which was 15 feet, 10 to 15 feet behind the doorway. Then accused of choking him. Neither happened. But the state of Montana unemployment and the person put on my case won't let me actually submit any proof at all. Won't let me submit the proof that he violated a lease contract, ruined all my stuff, and, which was against the law. He wasn't allowed to touch my stuff for another 11 days till after I got there legally, thereby verifying that he has utter disregard for the law, but I'm not allowed to fight for myself. I'm not allowed to tell my story at all. Anyways, so yeah, even though I'm pretty sure if I was a violent person at 46, I'd have violent crimes and violent charges. But I've never had any violent charges against me, so this is utterly ridiculous. Utterly, I'm using the words utterly a lot, but there were farms and ranches over there. Anyways, the true story, the true thing about it is that he, after he asked me out of the blue randomly one day at work, if I looked you up in the paper, what would I find? And I said, well, me almost being killed on an unwarranted welfare check when I was literally too sick to stand up, sit up in a chair straight. And he's like, "Oh, I think it's funny." Okay, so basically he thinks it's funny that I've had over 5 years of defamation of character. That's messed up. That shows what kind of person you are. And then he starts saying to the coworker that, accused me of all this stuff, that he starts saying, ticking time bomb," and other coworkers had observed that he would literally follow me around and try to irritate me and set me off and say, ticking time bomb." Then, a shift or two after, it could have been the same shift, he looks at me and then he looks at that chef and says, "What's THO mean?" To which, as I was preparing salads, I started singing, "Ain't nothing gonna break my stride, ain't no one gonna take me out. Oh no, I got to keep on moving." And I don't know if there's a better explanation for what THO is. But, for some reason that came right to my spirit. Yeah, and then, like I said, he'd follow me around, try to set me off, irritate me, treat me unfairly. Literally, it got unsafe and creepy, and I was the one that felt unsafe there. And, so I get after that, evict me, cool, whatever. But, like, it doesn't mean I deserve to lose my job, because I was really good at my job and I did a good job, and everybody, all my tables know that. In fact, there was a review put on there that said basically, like, Sally was great, and that was the same response I got from all of my other tables. In fact, I don't ever remember a table being irritated or customers being irritated with my performance at that place at all whatsoever. I remember them being irritated about the ribs being undercooked and, maybe some other stuff, drink that wasn't great or whatever. But, like, I didn't have complaints about my service, and I showed up for work and I did my job and I went above and beyond. And I'd even go down to try to do some extra deep cleaning just to take the workload off of the bartender that also admitted she was thrown under the bus by this person, because she did a lot of deep cleaning and the dining room wasn't getting deep cleaned. And so I started to be on that. But what was interesting is when I went down to clean with her, he had to go down and he couldn't handle, us being down there alone together. Like, like he was afraid we were going to talk about him or something. And then he'd, like, be in the kitchen mumbling under his voice. No, I'm not kidding. That's how the dude talked. And he'd also talk like a little girl sometimes. And not to point out, people's flaws, but, like, I'm having to point out the truth of this because I'm not allowed to fight for myself when it comes to Montana unemployment and my own claim and my own case. They're not putting my proof in the picture at all. They are taking the word of a manager that wasn't even there when all that went down. He's taken the word of somebody that was drunk and volatile and coming off of a long drug runner, and, was mad because I asked his sister to come back when he was actually upstairs. I think that's pretty reasonable when a family, when you've been warned about a family, like, being involved in drug activity and you have stuff go missing in your room and they just have open access to your room whenever they want to go in there. I think it's pretty reasonable to think that, like, those people should be allowed to, be up there when the other person that works there, the actual roommate that's supposed to be living there, is there. Another thing that was interesting is when the person on my case asked me questions about it. She said, so you and 3 roommates. Well, the thing is there wasn't 3 roommates, and so I don't know if that was a typo or not, but it was me and 2 roommates. There was only 3 of us authorized to live up there, so I don't know how much documentation was fabricated or what kind of junk they tried to come up with, put a wig on someone and take a stupid video. Who knows? Like, it was literally crazy. It was all crazy. It's the craziest work experience I've ever been through. Like, I need to go somewhere where people act professionally and represent excellence, because I didn't have these problems at the Uptown Cafe. In fact, they rehired me 5 different times. I would drive from Bozeman to come work at the Uptown Cafe because, like, you didn't have jealous haters trying to oust you because they were all at the same level. They all, like, took themselves and their job seriously and, promoted excellence and worked together as a team, rather than crazy psychotic sabotage, But I think that this story definitely has to go deeper, because otherwise it wouldn't be so extreme. And I wouldn't have had him saying, ticking time bomb, after he brought up my newspaper article, which that needs to have a lawsuit in and of itself. All those charges were dropped. I didn't deserve to have that left on the paper. It's affected my ability to get jobs as actual defamation of character that's provable and measurable, and has affected me greatly. And it's just cover up of liability and cover up of people's mistakes because they can't clean up their mess and do the right thing and tell the truth ever. It's really sad, the world that we live in. But anyways, I thought I would illustrate that, supposedly I shoved him against a wall that was that far away. No, that's not what happened. He's lying about me, and I don't even get the chance to defend myself or submit the proof that I actually did file a real police claim, a real report concerning the fact that he broke the law and ruined all of my belongings when he had no right to do that. So that shows the character of him, but I'm not allowed to fight for myself in our Montana government and in our unemployment. Pretty ridiculous. And the hacking is extremely provable. And then not only that, like, I know that I was either being hacked and listened to or surveilled in my room because, like I said, I brought up the fact that his like little ice cream sandwich dessert, like it literally chewed my gums up because it was full of sprinkles. And I said it felt like might as well just eat a handful of sprinkles. That's what it tasted like, and next time he made the cookies, no sprinkles. Then also after my car was wrecked, coming back from the Sacagawea singing karaoke, he said, "Oh, I got a friend that's got a car for you." And then I was in my room. I don't know if I just said it to myself or if I was on the phone with a friend saying, like, I trust a car that came from you. Never brought it up again. And that's only a couple examples of over half a dozen things that I said in my own room, that he seemed to know about. I'm not making this stuff up. I can't even lie if I tried. Like, I was born in a preacher's home, and in fact, I've got the opposite problem. I can't front. I can't lie. I tell the truth. I blab too much, and, also I've been given a lot of truth serum in my lifetime. I've been dosed at bars. So I've built up quite the resistance and immunity to it. So that's probably why these drinks that made me puke didn't actually take me out. Anyways, it's all hearsay, except for I do have actual proof, but I'm not allowed to submit that, and I'm not allowed to have that be any part of my case, and I'm not allowed to see what was actually sent to the adjudicators. I am going to send in concrete evidence and actual files, as well as my statement physically, in the form of physical copies, and then when I get to a job and I get money, I am going to submit this device to federal authorities. But yeah, no, it's pretty obvious because what the videos that were on this device, which by the way, they're on travel drives now and in emails. So, but anyways, when I went on to a secure computer at the job service, and I looked into my iCloud, 2/3 of my photos and videos had been erased, and they were all ones that related to proof concerning him breaking the law, breaking a lease, and destroying my stuff anyways. So it just shows the character of him, and even the fact that he's like fighting this and lying about me shows the character of this person,